Hello, and welcome to another Project Life process. It's been a while since I've done a Project Life page, but I had a lot of leftovers from my Brighter Days kit from MercyTiaraKits.com. These are all of the leftovers that I had after I made 10 layouts. I couldn't believe that I even had time to make 10 layouts. These layouts kind of scrapped themselves. So check out my channel if you missed any of them. But today I'm sharing the process of these Project Life pages that I created. Now, I did this in 2 different sittings, and so this is a fairly long process video, but I thought I would just leave it all as one, even though it is a long one. And let you decide if you want to watch it all at once or come back and watch the rest of it later or watch it on fast forward or whatever you want to do. So here I am just having a look at what my scraps are. I also took a look at some of my ephemera that I had put aside for the month of April. I do my pocket pages monthly now, and as you can tell, it's a little bit behind, but that's all right. I had been kind of choosing 1 week per month to focus on for doing my Project Life. That way I still get those everyday moments. Like, I don't want my monthly Project Life to be like a recap of the month in a general way. I want it to be really every day, and so and capture some of those details. So I've been trying to take a weekly approach to it, but only capturing 1 week per month. So I'm only doing a quarter of the weeks over the course of the year. And so far that's been working really well for me. Although in this particular month, because I'm doing it so far behind, what I typically do is the week after the week that I've chosen to select as my Project Life week, the week after that, I usually just kind of take a look at my pictures. I make a point of taking more that week and I scrap it. But where I'm doing it in retrospect, I did span a number of different weeks just because now that the time has passed, I have a better sense of how the overall month went, and there were some more interesting memories to scrapbook from some of the other weeks than just the one. So here I have my basic scrapbooking supplies here for Project Life. I have a template here that I just drew out with a ruler and a pencil that just shows the Becky Higgins Design A layout. And I have these photo flips from Snap, which I love for getting extra photos on my pages. And I have a sense that I'm going to not have a whole lot of room for all of these memories. So some of them are going to be in flippity flaps and some of them are going to end up being on an insert. Now, as I was talking about my process for documenting Project Life, you saw me go through my kit and I basically just chunked it up into 4x6 and 3x4 pieces. Actually, I think I just chunked it up into 4x6, and then later I will cut it down if I need the little 3x4 pages. I have a few other supplies on hand, but I'm mostly going to use my kit for this. This is the Brighter Days scrapbooking kit. So it was not designed for Project Life, but I have so many leftovers that I would really like to get them used. So I'm doing it this way. And actually, I really enjoyed doing it this way. And I think that this might be the approach that I take for my Project Life moving forward, because I've canceled all of my Project Life subscriptions. So I'm going to need some way to do my pocket pages. And I think just chunking up a kit is a really good way to do it. So keep an eye out on my channel if you like this kind of process, because you will probably be seeing more of it. So my first step in designing a Project Life spread is to decide where all my photos are going to go. As I do this, I'm not really thinking too much about chronology because it all happened in April and it doesn't really matter if it was early in the month or later in the month, but I'm trying to do a few things. I'm trying to spread out the colors on my photos and also spread out the sizes of my photos. So I don't want all of my 4x6 photos all together, although here they sort of are. I'm also just keeping in mind some of the ephemera that I have on hand and whether I might want to use it. I don't always use all the ephemera that I keep, but I do like to keep it just to have the option. And so I definitely have some things that I've put aside here on that craft paper. Those are more templates, but those are half-size templates. So that would be my insert. So 2 of those half templates will be one insert, and you will see that towards the end of the video. It's part of the reason why this one is so long, is that it's a double page spread plus 2 inserts, so it's kind of like 1.5. Like it's one double-sided insert is what it is, not 2, but it kind of ends up being like 2 because you have to make both sides of it. So here I am just taking some of those patterned paper pieces that I cut apart at the beginning into 4x6 pieces, and I'm cutting some of them down to be 3x4s. And I'm not quite cutting them in half. As you'll see, I take a little bit off of it first. So this one is a little bit smaller than 3x4, and then I'm left with one that's a little bit longer than 3x4. So I trim that one down too. So the 4 will be fine, but for these pockets, they're just slightly less than 3. So I just need to make my 3x4 cards a little bit less than 3x4. So I'm just sliding different pieces of patterned paper and sometimes cardstock. So I've got that craft cardstock down there in the bottom left-hand corner. And as I spread these patterns around my page, I'm just trying to make sure that there's not too many similar ones close together so that I'm spreading out. And I'm also trying to balance out things like there are some pretty big hits of green or like a greeny turquoisey color there. So I just want to make sure that those are spread out and balanced amongst the colors as well. One of the great things about doing a project life spread with a scrapbooking kit is it really has a pulled together coordinated look that a lot of my card-based project life spreads just don't have. Because when you're working with cards from a project life kit, each card is completely different from one another. And so having this repetition is quite nice. I'm enjoying this aesthetic. What I'm going to start with is my title card. Now, you don't have to do a title card, and I often don't do a title card, but I recently started doing them more often, and I'm actually really enjoying both the process of making them, and I also like seeing them in my pages. So I'm going to start with my title card today. I usually pick the top left-hand corner 4x6 slot to be where my title goes. I like the idea of having that kind of repeat from page to page. Now, as you can see, as I'm indicating with my fingers there, I want to have a circle that extends off of this card. And I'm going to use, I have a couple of stamp sets pulled out, and I'm going to use a fairly large circle, and I had some scrap white cardstock on hand, so I'm just going to use my circle dies. I have a waffle flower nested circle die set here. And I just kind of eyeballed what size circle I thought would work with the stamp set that I have, and also be the scale that I was looking for on the card as far as the design goes. Ran it through my Big Shot, as you saw there, and now I have this beautiful circle. So this is a stamp set that I haven't used before, so I'm just applying some packing tape. I like to connect my fronts and backs of my sticker sets so that I can just kind of rip the front off super fast and not have to kind of place it carefully back in place. So you just saw me do that with those. And then I have my Stampin' Up! Stamp chamois here, which I keep in a DVD case. It keeps my surface nice and clean and dry, and still gives me a chance to keep my stamp chamois out on my desk and not have to worry about it messing up any papers that are also on my desk. So I'm going to stamp this April stamp. This is from a Paper Person set. And I very much enjoy this set, even though I haven't used it before. I've been looking forward to using it. So it has the APR in that outline font, and then there's a little spot in the center to put something. And I think that you're supposed to put like week 2 or week 3 or something like that. But what I'm going to put is the actual date, April 2023. And I'm using a different stamp set for that. It's an Ellie Studio stamp set, but I think that it works pretty well with the scale of this. It's probably maybe slightly bigger than the fonts that are designed to go in this little space, but I think it works really well. And I love, whenever I'm mixing and matching my stamps, I like to use multiple ink colors. So the one that I used here was Bermuda Bay from Stampin' Up! And so, as you can see, I am just going to figure out where to put this. Now, maybe this is too big of a circle. I actually like the scale of the circle with this 4x6 piece of paper. I think maybe the thing that I don't love about this is that perhaps my April stamp was too small for that amount of white space. But either way, it gives my eye a little bit of resting space there because my project life pages are typically very, very busy. So having all of that white space is a-okay, but keep an eye out on this process because I am going to come back and I'm going to add a little something because it just feels a little bit like that April is dangling a little bit out in the wide open space. And so it looks nice the way that it is. It would have been fine if I left it like this, but at the very end, I'm going to come back and do a little something to it. I think it's at the end. So these are snap photo flips from Simple Stories, and they just allow you to, it's basically a little plastic pocket that has an adhesive strip on it, and so it allows you to basically tape a little flippity pocket to your page anywhere you want. You don't have to just use this on Project Life. You can use it on your scrapbook pages, which is a really great way to do some hidden journaling or just add some interactive elements to your page. But what I'm going to do here is use it to make a flip. So I have this MVP stamp set from Paper Person. It's from a 2023 kit. I don't know which one, but it has all of these kind of sporty related sayings in them. And my international student was very involved in sports. So I just stamped proud of you up in the little blank space beside her face there. And she is so hilarious how much she adores hockey. And she wasn't able to play hockey this year because she didn't get into it until the season had already started. But she joined the field hockey team. And even though she had never played it before, she joined the high school field hockey team and played every game and went to every practice, except for when she was injured there for a little bit, and had a really great time. So I am going to spell out Go Sharks, because that is the name of the high school team. And what am I thinking? I was trying to make an H out of a D, but obviously that makes a backwards H. I don't know what I was thinking there. But so now I'm thinking maybe I can attach these two together. Anyhow, I'm doing a little bit of thicker surgery here, which is what I often do when I'm kind of getting to the end of a set of stickers, especially when it's a set of stickers that I really, really love. So the Brighter Days kit has this amazing foam letter sticker that is kind of hard to find these days. It's Eclair, and it is from, I think it's from 2015, and it is amazing. And I have just used it to letter everything, so that's why there's not too many left. And I'm just cutting up some pieces. Sorry, I'm a little bit out of frame there, but the G's give you a really good circle for an extra O. I had used up all my O's, and there are certainly lots of circly kind of shapes, but a lot of them are more ovals than or weird shaped circles. So the G gives me the best round O. So I decided to cut down a G for that and just spelled Go Sharks. Now, I really wish that I had put Go more centered over the word sharks. I did use my wax paper, so I don't know why I didn't notice that wasn't really the best way that I wanted it designed, but it still looks really great and funky and cool. And that's the great thing about Project Life is that you're just doing things quickly and it's okay if things are not perfect. So, I mean, really any kind of scrapbooking is like that. Now, also happening off screen, I'm so sorry that I forgot to zoom out, but I am using my Stampin' Up! Rounded tab punch, which is my very favorite punch. I love that one. And I am just going to apply a little tab here. And this is one of the few things I'm using that are not in the kit is just a package of this Tim Holtz Chit Chat little word stickers. I will use those a few times on this spread. So I don't want to staple that quite yet because I need to put something in the back side of it, because if you staple it too soon, you can't slide anything in. So I'm going to use this piece of paper that I actually cut the rounded tab punch out of and immediately regretted it. And then I thought, no, I'll just put the picture over top of it. So that's fine. I will put more Chit Chat stickers on the back. This one says make it happen. The front side says be you bravely. I thought those were good sports oriented phrases. I'm just layering them on there in a fun way. And I feel like this pattern paper just needs a little something to hold up to. I want to do some journaling and I don't want to get it to get too lost in that pattern. So I'm going to cut a few more of these not label stickers, but just labels from the pattern paper in the kit. This is from a Paige Evans paper, and this label paper has been a godsend for this entire month. I don't know how I'm going to scrap without it next month. So we have, I have lots of leftovers, so I don't actually have to scrap without it. I'm going to layer these two, and I chose colors that are the team colors, so it's red and that lighter color of blue. And I'm just thinking about adding something here because it just feels a little like it needs something. So as I think about what I might want to put there, I will just adhere those two labels, and I just want them to be off, like I don't want them to be too lined up. So I will put my journaling here. It says, Annabelle joined the field hockey team. I'm so proud of her for trying something new. She is one amazing woman. We are so lucky to have had a chance to get to know her. We're so sad that she has left back home to Germany, but what an amazing person and what a great experience. We always love our international students equally, and but you know, always the one that we have is always our favorite, right? But I don't know, it's going to be hard to top this one. She's pretty amazing. So I am just adding a little bit of outlining all around the flowers that are there. Oh, and being a little bit, I don't know, maybe more detail oriented than I need to be, but I just wanted to make that be stuck down, even though it's going to be inside of a pocket and stapled, but there we go. So stapled it and we're good to go. So now that will align so that the strip will actually cover one of the holes in my page protector. So I will have to repoke the holes just so that you're aware that if you orient a pocket that way, you will have to have a hole punch on hand to be able to still put your page protector in the binder. So one of the things that happened in April is they announced the release date for the Breath of the Wild sequel, and they also announced the name of it, Tears of the Kingdom. I think that happened in April. I don't know. There were a lot of things going on. A lot of trailers came out in succession between March and April. So anyhow, I am documenting the release of the name and the date, I believe. And so I took some screen captures from the Nintendo Direct that I watched to see this information. And so her hands were sitting there. She's actually looking at a tear in her hand, but we don't know that at that point because we hadn't played the game. And I just thought her hands were just looking for something to go on it. So I just put that new game alert. And I would love to put another one of those great game-themed stamp sets. Many of them are from Kelly Perky from the Paper Person shop. But I decided not to because I actually love how this photo is composed. So I didn't want to cover up all that beautiful background that shows off in the distance the landscape of Hyrule. So I just journaled all around her. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to journal around shapes on my pages. It says still awaiting the release of Breath of the Wild sequel, which we now know as TOTK. I wanted to say Tears of the Kingdom, obviously, but I just didn't have room for it. And I just figured, you know what? I'm sure I'm going to be documenting Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm sure whoever is looking through my project life sometime in the future will be able to figure out, or maybe they just won't even care what the actual name of the game was. I don't know. But we're definitely going to have some Tears of the Kingdom showing up in this book. So there's my little tip for when you trim down a photo so that it no longer has its little white borders, is I like to just use a little piece of whiteout, like a what is it called? A correction tape. That's what it's called. Just to kind of continue that line. And then usually it doesn't do a perfect job, so I go back with a white gel pen to fix that. Now, this is a little screenshot that I took from Annabelle's Instagram, I think. I just did a screenshot, and she had all these circles, and they were all kind of bubbly on her Instagram page. And so what I thought I'd do is just kind of mimic that and add a bunch of bubbly shapes to my card so that it almost looks like the bubbles are extending off of the Instagram page and onto my page. So I'm just going to try to put them very randomly here, and I'm outlining each one of them just to add a little bit of boldness to them, but also it helps them to tie in with the photo because the photo is on a black background. So that card is done, and now we're moving on to this one, which documents something that happened in our community and in our high school in particular. And so unfortunately, there was a hate crime at my daughter's high school. And as a gay student, it really did affect her quite a lot. And so I just wanted to document that. One of the things that I did was I made a post. I was kind of like feeling very passionate one day, and I don't usually post on social media other than just like sharing my, the occasional photo and whatnot. But I was feeling pretty strongly about it. So I did a post, and I just wanted to document that. So I just did a couple of screenshots of it, or actually I think that I made that and then I posted it. So I just had that document and just printed it up in the two pieces. This is a LGBTQ plus, I don't know the name of it, but it's a stamp set from Paper Person. If you're looking for this one, it is in stock because I bought it fairly recently. And I didn't get it when it first came out, and then I regretted it, and then I went back and got it, and I was glad to have it for this memory. And I'm sure there will be more. I mean, hopefully not hate crime related, but you know what I'm saying. So I am just going to, I had to season that stamp because I hadn't used it before. I'm using my VersaFine black ink, which is the most black of the inks that I have in my stash. I am using my Misty tool, which allows me to position my stamp and stamp it over and over again. I'm using that because it's such a bold stamp that I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to get it nice and crisp and solidly filled in with just one stamp. So that's why I'm using my Misty tool. I don't typically like to use my Misty for Project Life because my whole deal with Project Life is I like it to be fairly quick. So that stamp actually says, let me be perfectly queer. And those are two stamps that you can kind of put together for that. I think that that's actually the name of the stamp set, is Perfectly Queer. I'm going to outline around the outside edges of it in just in a doodly, messy kind of a way. And so now I have my front and my inside pocket, and now I'll just do the inside base here as well. And in this one, I'm stamping, this says creating a safe space. And then there's another one that says, let's talk about. So that is exactly what my post on social media was about. So I thought, well, let's do that. So I'm stamping that in blue. This is Pacific Point blue from Stampin' Up. And I think that looks pretty good there. But now my image is a little bit too high there, so I'm not going to adhere my image quite there. I'll move it down so that it's a little bit more centered. More of the doodly outlines so that this whole thing has that kind of consistency from from page to page or from pocket to pocket. Now I'm moving on to another card here. At the time in April, I was doing Duolingo daily. I am no longer doing that, but I was doing it. And, you have to be kind to yourself when you fall off the wagon with these kinds of things because, Duolingo isn't essential in my life. And if something had to go, if I got busy and couldn't continue it, then, Duolingo isn't the worst thing to not do in my day. So I try to not beat myself up. I was trying to commit to learning Spanish before we return down south to either Cuba or Dominican. But, there's plenty of time for me to brush up on my Spanish skills. Things got really busy around here. If you've been following me, you know that we had graduation, we had a goodbye to an international student, we had a wildfire that made us evacuate our home for 6 days during the middle of a kit release. So yeah, we've had a lot going on, and it's okay that I've dropped Duolingo. As you see, I just traced the corner of a card in order to make this little fun triangle piece. I'm documenting around this again, and I'm documenting as if it was still April. I say I've been learning Spanish since returning from DR. Even though I know that the outcome is that I stopped doing that, I still scrapbooked it as if I didn't know that. Now here is a screenshot of our TV. We were watching Blue Bloods one day, and I noticed that, actually Scott noticed, that this scene was filmed in our favorite restaurant. So I had to take a picture of that. We love the Café Un Deux Trois, which is a restaurant that we just happened upon on our first trip to New York. It was very close to our hotel. We stayed at the Sofitel, which is an amazing hotel. If you ever get a chance to stay there, it's amazing. We haven't been able to afford to go back, so we stay other places now. But again, I'm using my Misty to restamp over and over again. And then I'm just going to clean up my stamp, and that now playing on my screen is a stamp set called Watched from Paper Person. And because the photo itself is askew, I'm making everything else on this card a little bit askew. So it's actually all lined up with the photo, which is uneven, like it's at a weird angle. My journaling here says a scene from Blue Bloods was filmed at Café Un Deux Trois. You can see part of the sign in the background there. And we actually didn't notice the sign. It was this stained glass thing in behind that we recognized right away. We were like, is that really? Now, one of the things that I did was I didn't quite wait for my ink to dry, and it did smudge just a little bit. It still looks a little smudged as I'm looking at it now, but I was able to erase some of the smudging off of the big section of yellow that didn't look very good. Now is the point where it's occurring to me that I need to do I don't need to, but I want to do something with that top part. So I had this washi tape on hand, and it was the right colors. It's from I think it's from the it's from the Brighter Days kit. And so it's from the add-on actually. So I just added that, and it filled a little bit of space, and it did a great job. Now this is a photo of my cereal with some fruit. And again, I have my Misty out, so I'm just going to keep on using it here. I don't think I'm going to have to stamp twice, but this one says Rise and Shine, and it's from a little stamp set. I don't know who makes that stamp set. I'm sorry. I normally pull out my stamps for narration, but my scrap room is being moved around a little bit, so I don't have access to them. I just looked it up, and that stamp set is from Hero Arts if you're looking for it. It's the early bird one, and then there's also a night owl one that kind of goes along with it. I used a Stampin' Write marker in Daffodil Delight to color in the sun, just to add a pop of color and add a little bit of interest to that stamp set. I'm playing around with a few different ideas of how to mat this this screenshot. It was from the Instagram of the bookshop that my daughter works for, announcing that one of the cats that they foster cats, so there's always new kittens in the store and full-grown cats. Every so often they get new cats, and then the old cats get adopted, and then they get new ones. But they decided to keep Seamus. So Seamus, the cat, is now the official bookstore cat. They will still get foster cat. In fact, they just got kittens the other day. But Seamus is there to stay, which is really nice. So as you saw, I just plainly matted that and outlined it with that shaky outlining that I've been using everywhere. Now I have these enamel dots, and again, I'm trying to use up this kit on this spread. So I'm going to just put some of these enamel dots every here and there just to add some pops of color and add some interest, and also just to use them up. And now is day 2, so I had to put everything away and do a little bit of work, my day job work. And this is the next day. I'm pulling it back out again. I'm having a look at what I did and reminding myself and realizing, whoops, I forgot to put a tab on this. And I forgot to put something in the pocket below that Go Sharks flip out. So I'll have to make sure I do that today. So I'm grabbing another punch with that rounded punch from Stampin' Up. That's an old retired punch, so it might be hard to find that, but really any tab punch, there's always, We Are Memory Keepers makes some nice tab punches as well. I'm going to outline this, the tab, just to add a little bit of emphasis to it. Sometimes I find that people looking at my album don't realize that there are flips, so I like to make it as obvious as possible. And I'm grabbing 2 more of those Tim Holtz Chit Chat stickers just to decorate it. And I'm pretty much done with that one, although I do have to keep in mind that I need another 4x6 for inside of that Go Sharks flip out. So I'm starting with this photo of Scott and Annabelle playing hockey, or not playing hockey, they're watching hockey. And Rocky is all snuggled up with Scott, and Annabelle is wearing her Habs jersey, and it's just a great photo in many, many ways. There's this spot where my very light mint green throw that's on my couch is all bundled up there, and it provides a really nice spot to do some stamping because it's so light. So I just took my Game On stamp from one of my gaming stamp sets. I have stamp sets for board games and also stamp sets for video games, and they're all from Paper Person. Oh, actually, that game night one I believe is from Ellie's Studio, not from Paper Person. So I think that's a fun addition to this card, and I don't think the card really needs too much else. It's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not a big fan of writing the obvious in my pages, so I'm not going to write Annabelle and Scott are watching hockey because I don't have time for that. So I'm just going to decorate it, and you can figure out the rest. Now, in retrospect, I think that I chose too dark of a red. I think this would have looked better with a bright red. This red does really pick up on her Montreal Canadiens jersey. And so there's that. Yeah, that's good. I am just using a very inexpensive Sharpie, what are these called? Super tip markers. These are just school markers. You can get them on Amazon in a humongous box for very, very cheap. You can probably also get them at the dollar store or in the school supply section at Walmart or Staples. And these markers are surprisingly good for lots and lots of things. And so it's really worth getting. I have like fancy markers that cost a lot of money that are specific for art and scrapbooking. And to be honest, I reach for these super tip markers way more often than any of those specialty markers. So really worth the investment. Next, I have this photo of Sophie and Annabelle diamond painting, Annabelle's actually working on my diamond painting because she knew that she wouldn't be here long enough to start her own. So I just gave her mine and let her knock off a couple of columns of mine. The journaling here on one of those Paige Evans labels says diamond painting. Annabelle worked on my Van Gogh and Sophie did her unicorn. This was one of those days when the kids were home and feeling bored, and so they just took out this activity to kill some time. I think it wasn't all that nice out that day, so they didn't want to go outside. And I just placed that label so that it covered some of the clutter on my table, just to give my eye a little place to rest below it where there's just plain table showing. Now I'm realizing I do have a second photo of the field hockey, or a third, I guess, photo of the field hockey. So that's going to give me something to put below that flip pocket on the other page. But first I'm going to do this filler page, which is basically just this 3x4 cut out of one of the pattern papers from the Brighter Days kit. And then I have this sticker from almost everything here is from the Brighter Days kit. And that gives me this really cute little kind of filler card. I'm going to run some stitch lines around the outside edges of this. I don't typically sew on my Project Life because, again, I try to make my Project Life process a little bit faster and more streamlined, but I love the look of stitching, so I just added the stitch lines there. I'm going to trim this photo down because I didn't need all of that. Whenever I take a screenshot at night, it always comes out with the black background instead of the white background, and I almost feel like turning that feature off simply so that I can not have all these black photos in my Project Life. In fact, I think I might do that after I'm finished narrating this video. So I use my little trick again of using a correction tape to replace my lines that I cut off. And now I'm just going to add this sticker. It says, keep going, the best memories are ahead. I thought that was good, kind of, keep going is a good thing for sports. And that yellow sticker with the flowers on it really picks up on the other colors on this page, on this card. I did some doodly outlines with some little hash marks every here and there. And that will go under there. So now I'm done that. Now next to the Be Someone's Rainbow Filler card, I have this couple of photos here of Liv changing the tire of my car, changing the tires of my car. So usually Scott changes my tires every year, takes the winter tires off and puts the summer tires on. But this year he walked Liv through the process so that she would know how to do it, because she's been driving my car more than I have. So we thought it was good that she already knows how to change a tire and stuff. But anyhow, we just wanted her to know that. So she basically changed my tires this year. And I have one photo that I took of her doing it. So that's of our messy garage. And then one of her very proudly showing her grease-covered hands afterwards. And I have a layout called Grease Monkey that I'm just realizing now I actually don't have on my channel. I'll have to find that video and make sure it gets posted. I'm going to put a sticker here just to cover some of the place where the ceiling was just a garage door ceiling, and so it wasn't that nice, so I just covered that. I don't mind having all of the clutter show because that's our real life. Our garage is pretty cluttered. It's not a priority for us to keep it super tidy. It does have to be kind of enough clean that, no squirrels decide to live in there, but other than that, it's okay if it's messy. It holds our recycling and storage and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to attach this tag from the die cuts from the kit, and I'm doing my journaling on it. It says, Liv changed the tires on my car this week. Hooray for learning new things. And the mechanism for that flip is I took a Kelly Perky, which has pretty stiff pattern paper in it, a Kelly Perky 6x8 card, cut it in half so that it's 3x8, and I scored it in the center so that it's basically 2 attached 3x4s. Now, next to that card goes this one, which is a photo of Liv on her bed with 3 cats all curled up with her. I thought it was just adorable, so I wanted to put that there. And then beside that one is this photo of my narration process. So this is what as I speak, this is what my desk looks like, because I have all of this stuff set up every time I narrate. So I just attach that Pink Fresh Studio sticker in such a way that it looks like it's a band that reaches all the way from the top to the bottom of this card, even though it doesn't. This is my little cheater method of extending the use of stickers, borders, all sorts of things, labels. I do this with all sorts of things. I just wrote narrating process videos on the side of that. And now on this 4x6 card, I'm going to put this photo of a cake that Sophie made. I just have to decide how I'm going to orient it. It was taken vertically, but I'm going to end up placing it on my page here horizontally. My brain always feels weird when it does that. Like, it doesn't seem like it's supposed to go that way, but I figure no one knows that but me. You can't really tell by looking at this. So although it kind of bugs me that it's horizontal, I think it's all right. It works a lot better to be able to hold all the things that I want it to hold when it's placed horizontally. Trimming up another one of those Paige Evans labels, and I'm just going to change the size of it because it was a little bit too long. So I just cut it and overlap it with itself to make it shorter, but you still keep the nice finished edges on it. My journaling here says, because the sticker above it says, "You were made to do great things," and then in my labeling here, it says ... like make delicious grapefruit cake from HelloFresh. Yummy. And I don't think I wrote that Sophie did this, so maybe I should go back and add that. Sophie is our in-house chef / baker. She does pretty much most of our baking and extra cook, like besides our meals. She'll sometimes cook a meal, but if ever we have pretzel bites or something extra, it's usually because Sophie made it. Next, I'm going to be scrapbooking this 3x4 screenshot, which is a 4x6 screenshot. I'm going to cover up the little control panel over on the side here that shows just some of the stats. And this is from our Shopify shop. And these were the first, so the one with the little geotag is me, but those 2 blue dots represent our very first customers when we opened our shop. So hooray for somebody in Michigan and somebody in, it looks like maybe California or Arizona or something. Thank you for visiting. It totally made my day. I'm using my journaling stencil here, which, if you are looking for one of these journaling stencils, I know I've told you guys that you can get them in a pack from Amazon that includes many bullet journal templates. Well, if you want one of these, we are actually going to be bringing those to the MercyTiara Kits shop. So I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get them, but they're ordered and they're on their way, and they are a custom item that it's not exactly this stencil, but it's one that I've designed to look very similar to it to use as a journaling template. So check out our shop for that, and I will let you know when it's arrived. So I'm doing a little bit of outlining. My journaling here, which I love that template allows you to journal around a shape like this. It says, "It was so exciting to see people all over the world check out our shop when it launched. MercyTiara Kits will be our next adventure together. Let's get scrappy." I just said let's get scrappy because that is how Scott signs all of his emails, something that he just started doing that I think is really cute and fun. So next I'm going to work on the insert. So I'm grabbing one of these Becky Higgins 6x12 inch. It's basically, I don't know what the letter is of it. Oh, actually I do, because it's right here, is design H. So it's basically a half of a design A. I have some ephemera here, and because I don't have photos for every single pocket, I think putting these bus tags here, these bus transfer tickets, I think is a good idea. Now, you might have a hard time seeing this, but I actually have a piece of acetate. It's just overhead paper, like a transparency paper that I have in my stash, and I cut down a bunch of them to 4x6. So I basically have these invisible pieces of paper that I can attach things to, so that basically those bus transfer tickets and the photo, they're not going to float around in that 4x6 pocket because they're attached to the overhead transparency paper, and that will just keep them in place so that they don't shift around or fall out of the pocket. But they look like they're just placed in there. I really like that look. I am going to put this Dalhousie Tigers sticker, which I bought at the bookstore that day. So this was the day that we took the ferry over to Dartmouth, and then we came back and went to the Dal bookstore for Liv. I'm going to again use that journaling template, and I love bringing my lines right up close to the subject in the photo. And I just love the look of that. So I can't wait to share that journaling template with you guys. So this says, we took the ferry to Dartmouth, where we had lunch at a creperie. Then we returned to Halifax, went to the Dal bookstore, and then out for dinner. A wonderful day out. These were things that we were supposed to do for Annabelle's bingo, and we hadn't done them yet. So we were just kind of towards the end of the year making sure that we did all of the things that so that we could submit for our bingo challenge, but we ended up forgetting because of the fire. So I'm just showing that I don't want to trim down this photo because it has this wonderful image of my husband's grade 12 graduation photo on the wall, and I just love any photo that includes those graduation photos. So I'm not going to trim that down. I'm just going to keep it at 4x6. And I don't necessarily need all of these photos to tell this story. There are I have lots of photos of us catching that ball, so I just wanted to include a few of them here. So this one of Liv catching the ball and then Sophie sitting beside her, I just put enjoy this moment, and it's right out on the outside of the page protector there. And then I have a photo of Tanya catching the ball, and I'm going to put the count it all joy on the outside of that page protector. And then on this one here that has the car Ussie, I am spelling out car Ussie. These are Ellie's Studio letter stickers from my stash. They're fairly old and well loved, as you can tell. Just spelling out car Ussie. And then I'm going to grab a Pink Fresh Studio sticker that says see good in all things. I'm going to stick that on there as well. We used to call these car selfies until the family all watched Ted Lasso together, and now we call every selfie an Ussie if there's more than one person in it. So there's that sticker, and we're done that one. And now the top photo here is just the girls posing with their Easter baskets as if they were purses. That was the morning before we went down to New Glasgow. So there's this space on the edge of it there where the door is. It's over on when the photo is, right now it's at the top of the photo, but when it's oriented properly, it's over on the left. And I'm just going to put the word Easter there. I'm just looking, the reason I was gone for so long is I was kind of looking at the letter stickers that I already have pulled out to see if I can spell out Easter. I definitely can't use those stickers that came in the kit because I've used them for literally everything and they're all gone. And so I'm just going over to my Razcog. I keep a Razcog filled with letter stickers. And the reason I'm gone for so long is that I'm just looking through all of my black letter stickers over there. I'm going to come back in just a second with a set. These are an older set of pink paisley letter stickers, or paisley press. Wait, I can't remember. I think it's pink paisley. I can't recognize that logo from here. I'm spelling out the word Easter, and I love this typewriter font. It has a little bit of sparkle to it as well, a little bit of glitter. And that's all I really need to say for that. I didn't even really need to say that it's Easter, but because they're holding their baskets, but there was space there, so I thought I would put that in place. I do have this extra photo of Sophie catching the ball, but I didn't feel like I needed it. Sophie is in the layout. She's just not catching the ball in that particular page. And now I have my spread, which is right here, and my insert will go right in the middle like that, and it'll flip like that. Now, I do have some photos at the end so that you can see this all put together, but first I wanted to give a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. These folks help make this channel happen, so big thanks to all of them. Patrons get early ad-free access to all my process videos and real-time unedited versions of my videos where I explain things in quite a bit more detail and also just chat a little bit, as well as monthly live stream and behind the scenes videos from my room and my process. So thanks to them and thanks to you as well. Here are those photos. As you can see, this one turned out really great considering that it was just kind of stitched together from leftovers of a kit. And I think that I've been inspired to do this more. You might see more of these sorts of things from me. Here are all of the places where you can find me. The link for the Facebook group is in the information section below because it's a bit cumbersome. It's a new group, so it doesn't have the proper name yet. But thanks so much for watching. Take care and have a really great scrappy week. And let me know in the comments below if you are still doing Project Life, and if so, how do you do it? Do you do it weekly, monthly, daily? What are you up to with Project Life? Take care. Bye-bye.